Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecke. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms as well as to Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So if you are joining us from any of those platforms, please feel free to leave a question or a comment down below. Hopefully I'll be able to address everything as I go through the forecast here, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. But we're going to waste no time here. We'll get started. We are still on alert tonight for the potential of some severe thunderstorms, mainly for that potential for some damaging wind gusts, but you can't even completely rule out still that potential for a brief spin-up tornado as these storms roll through. So, excuse me, taking a current look at our Doppler radar, we did have a few of those showers kind of lift off to our north earlier this afternoon, but now the main line is pretty much right up and along the Wabash River here, right around 9 o'clock. Timing-wise, this is still moving in on time here. So in the Evansville area, sometime around 10 is when I'm expecting these storms to finally move into our neck of the woods and then eventually pushing off to our east by the time we get to around midnight. But here's a better view of those storms and specifically where we're seeing some of the heaviest rain right now. Again, that is pretty much aligned right up and along the Wabash River. It's kind of just this very thin line of these intense thunderstorms. We haven't seen any severe thunderstorm warnings yet for this, but there are a couple of special weather statements, especially for the southern half of this band here for gusts up to 40 miles per hour, and that's going to be moving into Morganfield there shortly. Union County, Webster County, and Hopkins County looking out for that as well. But this line will continue to push off to the east here through the next several hours. Again, severe weather still possible, but the threats are fairly limited at this time. Again, our main threat here is going to be that potential for those damaging wind gusts and maybe a quick spin-up tornado. So timing everything out here, looking at the risk, you can see that has shifted a little bit now that the storms are now beginning to march off to the east. We've seen this slight risk kind of get pushed and kind of pinched up a little bit here, still encompassing portions of our western Kentucky viewing area, which is why we're seeing some of those stronger winds with those storms just to our south there. So that's where they're thinking maybe the better chances of a damaging wind gust would be just to the south of the Ohio River, but still possible anywhere within the tri-state with that level 1 and 2 risk. Again, it's not going to be a widespread issue, but it will be possible, at least for some isolated wind gusts. But looking at the timing here, going through around 10 o'clock, we're hitting that in the Evansville area, pushing off towards Owensboro between 10 and 11 p.m. tonight. And then eventually, by around midnight, most of that will kind of be pushed off to our east at that point, and I think the severe weather threat will be over, as we do have a few lingering showers possible behind it, but we're not expecting that to really intensify into much. It's just going to be some breezy, gusty thunder showers that are going to be streaming on in, and they could even linger into the first part of Sunday morning, and then as we go through Sunday afternoon, we'll see gradually decreasing cloud cover, increasing sunshine, but it will be pretty breezy as well. We could see gusts out of the west-northwest up to 30 miles per hour. But just taking another look at those individual risks here, again, they are fairly limited, but an isolated damaging wind gust still remains possible here over the next few hours, as well as that chance for maybe a quick, brief spin-up tornado. Rainfall amounts, they have, continue to back off to our northwest. Evansville not really included in much of a flooding threat there, but of course anywhere that does get that heavy rainfall in a short amount of time has that potential for some localized flooding, so can't completely rule that out either. But over the rest of the night tonight, we could pick up an additional half an inch to an inch as these storms roll through. So that's kind of the gist on everything that's headed our way for tonight. Let me go ahead and check out some of the comments. I got a lot of people saying good evening. Zach saying our isolated damaging winds the main threat. Yeah, I would say that is our main threat for the rest of this evening. We've got people saying they're praying that we don't get any tornadoes. Me too. Hopefully that, because the risk is so low, we don't really see that, but it is still a possibility. So making sure if you are placed under either a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, you have your plan in place and you know what to do. Looks like Emma says she's got her weather radio on so she doesn't miss any alerts through the overnight hours. I think that's a great option. you know, a lot of folks kind of want to stay up and, you know, be prepared for that. If you are really tired and you do want to go to bed, I'd say if you just turned on your weather radio or had a way to receive an alert in the event you are placed under a warning, just to wake you up and kind of check things out, I think that would be a great idea for the rest of the night tonight. Tori says she just joined. Sorry, is it about to get bad? Well, no problem. I am going to kind of rerun everything I just said because I do know people join as I go through it here and they kind of miss some things. So I want everybody to kind of be on the same page before I send you off for the evening and we have our show tonight at 10. So of course, we're still going to be on alert here, potentially for some isolated damaging wind gusts being our main threat, but of course that spin up tornado risk still a possibility. Taking a look at the current radar loop right now, we had some of those showers lift up to our north earlier this afternoon. That was all out ahead of that main line, and now the main line is pretty much lined up right and along the Wabash River there, and it's pushing into Union County, Kentucky, Posey County as well. I'm also about to push into extreme eastern Gibson County. This will continue to race eastward here over the next several hours. I think the bulk of all of this starts to come to an end by around midnight, but we do have some gustier winds. We haven't seen any severe warnings yet, thankfully. Hopefully we can keep that trend going, but there are some gusty winds up to 40 miles per hour with included in a special weather statement for areas like Union and Webster County as this line kind of continues to push in. So if you're in Morganfield, you're probably hearing some heavy rainfall right now and maybe getting a good breeze, but hopefully everything stays sub-severe here through the rest of the night. Hopefully we can just escape without a hitch. So that's what I'm hoping for. And again, here's a look at that storm risk. We're mostly included within that level 1 isolated risk for a damaging wind gust, but there is that also chance for a spin-up tornado, and I think the best odds of any severe weather still remain mostly over western Kentucky down through eastern Tennessee and into Mississippi there, where they're also tracking out some showers and thunderstorms. But taking a better look at the timing here as it races eastward across the Wabash River, entering areas like Evansville, Henderson, up towards Princeton, Washington, Vincennes by around 10 o'clock tonight, and then that will continue to push eastward towards the Owensboro area by around 10-11, and then off to our east completely by around midnight tonight. And I think if we are to see any severe weather, it would be happening before midnight. So severe weather threat likely coming to an end there. Doesn't linger too much into the overnight hours. We are still going to catch a few maybe gusty showers as this low kind of wraps itself up and kicks off to the northeast, and some of those showers could still linger into early Sunday morning, but we will be clearing out of here by the time we get into Sunday afternoon with increasing sunshine and gusty winds out of the west-northwest up to 30 miles per hour. But there's another look at the risks here. Again, we're not really concerned with hail. We have a very, very low risk for tornadoes, so possibly seeing a brief spin up, most likely along the leading edge of that line is where you would most likely see that. And then, of course, I think our main threat here would be that potential for those gusty winds, potentially up to that severe level. So that is kind of the rundown on all of those storms tonight. I went through it twice, so hopefully everybody was able to get all of that situated and, you know, has that all in mind. So, oh, it just thundered bad in Morganfield, so it looks like Tori is down to our south there. Some people were asking what the blue on the radar is. That's just a really high reflectivity return, so it just indicates that it's really heavy rain that's falling down. Skylar asks, what time will the big storms be done? I think everybody here will be done with these big storms by around midnight tonight. That's when I think everybody in the tri-state will be cleared out of that main threat. However, areas that have already been, you know, washed over by that leading edge, I think your severe weather threat has kind of already come to an end. So anywhere out ahead of that line, you still have that potential. Anywhere behind it, I think that potential is pretty much squandered at this point. That leading edge is where all of that energy is, and then as those storms work through, they use up all that energy, and what's left behind isn't really enough for anything to get going again. So if the line is passing through your neck of the woods right now, or it has already passed, I'd say that your severe weather threat is pretty much over with at this point in time. If the rain has not pushed into your area yet, you still have to be a little bit on alert here, keeping your eyes and ears tuned in to our forecast on the radar, and of course making sure you have a way to receive a warning in the event one is issued. Again, we're not expecting widespread severe weather tonight, but a couple of warnings are certainly possible. So hopefully that answered your question. That is all I'm seeing in terms of the questions right now. Has there been anything for Davis County? Not quite yet. We still have another hour or so before we start to see those storms roll past Evansville and towards Davis County. So still waiting on those storms moving in from the west. Christian just asking, how you doing today? I'm doing all right. Just keeping things in order here, hopefully calming you guys down and not scaring anyone. But that is all I have here for the forecast. I kind of just wanted to keep it focused on the weather we're experiencing for tonight. So I will just go ahead and kind of skip through towards the 7-day forecast, just so that you guys can at least see, the nicer weather that's headed our way for much of next week, and also a really nice cool down. So this cold front, in addition to bringing us some of those storms this evening, it is going to drop those temperatures significantly. So let me take this full screen. We'll be dropping down into the low to mid 60s possibly for our highs tomorrow, and we'll hang out mostly in the 60s through much of next week, and we should stay on the drier side. There is opportunity for more scattered showers as we get towards the end of next week. So pretty much quiet after we get rid of these storms. It's really just the rest of the night tonight and some of those lingering showers through Sunday morning. So that is all I've got here for the weather stream. I'm going to hop off and I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, have a great rest of your night and stay safe, and be sure to have a way to receive an alert or a warning in case one is issued.